Hello and welcome back to Dragon Quest Wall Tutorials. I'm Coach Chizizi, and in this video we're going to go over the new weapon. So that is going to be the God Eater Great Sword. So that sword can be found right over here on this character. So after spending many gems and mileage points, I was finally able to get this weapon for the 6th anniversary event, and it does not disappoint. So this might be one of the most important weapons that you can acquire in the game. So I actually want to go ahead and go over the abilities and break this down. So pretty much over here in terms of its basic stats, here you're going to have plus 188 to your attack power, and then when you have this double-handed, it's going to give you plus 94 attack power. So that's going to be this particular part of the weapon there. Then over here in terms of basic stats, here at level 1 you're going to get plus 5 to attack power. If you have expertise with the weapon, you're going to get plus 5% damage if you have to enemies that are question marked. You're going to get plus 5% damage to enemies that are birds. You're going to get plus 12 to your attack power if you have expertise with this weapon. Also, in this case, if the weapon is wielded dual-handed, for level 43, you will actually get plus 3% to weapon skill damage, and then at level 46, for plus 3% to all attribute damage if this is going to be wielded dual-handed. So that's going to be this particular weapon. So now I actually want to go over the abilities. So it's going to have quite a few, but only one that actually does attack. So I want to actually go into a battle real quick. So let's go over here. Okay, so a couple of things that we have here. So the first of which is we're going to see right over here. So that particular ability, so that particular buff is going to be called Sudden Mobius Force, Ikinari Mobius Force. This is going to cost 12 MP. What this does is at the start of the battle, this grants the wielder with the attribute damage plus special effect that gives you the force powers of the wielder's highest 2 attribute values. So enemies taking damage with this effect only will take damage with the attribute they are weaker to amongst the 2 attribute values. So that's going to be the ability of this particular buff. Then besides that, here you're actually going to see that I actually do have tension level at level 2. So this is going to be from an ability, sudden activation ability, which is going to be Kamihei Idomu Toshi, which is going to be fighting spirit to challenge a god. So this is going to cost 20 MP, and at the start of the battle, the wielder's tension is raised 2 levels in that case. So in this case, I have 20, but if the enemy is a question mark type, then the wielder will gain super high tension and a protective shield. So in that case, for enemies that are going to be like the recent Mega Monster, the 2-star Mega Monsters that are sprinkled out on the field, pretty much every time you enter a battle, you will actually go into super high tension in that case. Then the next thing that I want to go over is going to be up at the top over here. So this is going to be a new domain skill. So this one is going to be called Level Up. So with Level Up at the start of the battle, the Level Up domain skill will activate. If the enemy is a question mark type, it will change to a transcendent domain skill. I did actually explain what that meant in a previous video. With level up active, there's a chance that the level of allies will increase during battle and most stats will increase. So again, I went over that in a previous video about the stats that actually increase with level up. Pretty much all the basic stats will increase, and then also, well, all the basic stats except for your agility. Then as you go through level up, every time you go level up, you will actually gain a certain amount of HP and MP. So those are going to be the sudden activation abilities. So over here, in terms of the regular abilities, we're going to have the first one, which is going to be right here. This is going to be Mobius Force. So Mobius Force, pretty much just like the sudden activation ability, except this one is going to cost 17 MP. What this does, it grants the wielder with the attribute damage plus special effect that gives you the force powers of the wielder's highest two attributes. Enemies taking damage with this effect on will take damage with the attribute they are weaker to amongst the two attribute values, but this can only be used once during the battle. Then after that, here we're going to have another ability which is called Memento Mori, which is going to be Memento Mori Annihilation. So with this, this actually increases the wielder's level by 10 during the battle, so which increases stats with some exceptions and allows the wielder another action. In exchange, it consumes all allies' HP, leaving them with 1 HP, and all characters receive a debuff in which they die after 2 turns. This can only be used again once per battle, so going to be like this. So there, level 92. And I get another turn. So in this case, going to go over the final actual ability, which is going to be this one here. So this is going to be Tenzaku Kilda, which is going to be Heaven Splitter Blade. With this is going to cost 60 MP. What it does, depending on the number of enemies, this does 800% to 1,500% weapon damage to all enemies, plus 99 damage to metal type enemies, and cannot be evaded nor guarded. So this is actually quite the ability. So here, going to go ahead and use this. Okay. Okay, so there you actually saw me do an attack and actually get critical hits there, and then actually you did see light shining up from above from the domain skill. So now the level up domain skill is now in the transcendent mode. In this case, what this does, it actually increases the chances or increases the amount of levels that I gain from certain actions during the battle. So that's pretty much going to be that particular ability. So this is actually part of a challenge. So the challenge is actually called Mugen no Kanose, which is endless possibilities. So if the wielder performs 3 critical hits during battle, level up will become a transcendent domain skill. Okay, so now what I want to do is actually go ahead and finish off this particular battle. So here, going to use Memento Mori, increase my level to level 99. And the final attack. There, plenty of damage to take the enemies out. Okay, so that was me using the God Eater Greatsword, so the brand new weapon for the 6th anniversary event. So again, this is going to be a weapon that you want to have in your inventory. So now I actually want to go ahead and break this weapon down. So pretty much first starting off, I usually start off with sudden activation abilities. So this particular weapon has 3 of them. So the first one is going to be Mobius Force. So with that one, the God Eater Greatsword is allowed to be very versatile weapon, as it can take on the top 2 attributes that the wielder has the highest value for. So meaning that this weapon can be used in almost any battle. I would say the only battles that it would not be very useful with is possibly battles where enemies are quite resistant to weapon skill damage. But even then, this weapon could still be quite useful there as well. But then also in terms of the fighting spirit, the tension level is also important when it comes into battle, as it increases the performance of the wielder's class traits or fighting abilities. So definitely in that case, especially you actually have seen in my previous video on the 3 mega monsters I'm using. I actually was not using this weapon, but off video I've been using this weapon, and it's actually quite useful if you have the right attribute combination for those particular mega monster bosses. But having super high tension right from the beginning, that is actually a big help. Then besides that, level up is also important, as well as it increases the level of not just the wielder but all members of the party, but more so going to be the wielder. Then besides that, the next one that I want to actually mention is going to be Memento Mori. So with Memento Mori, gives the wielder plus 10 levels, so you're allowed to have a max level of plus 20, which while this domain skill is on, which will let you be maxed out special classes reaching to level 105, making it very big difference in battle. I believe it's going to be level 20. I believe it's going to be level 105, which should be the max, unless there is a cap at 20 at 99, but I don't believe that there is. But again, the only drawback about level up is that, again, this ability will increase basic stats. The only one that it doesn't increase is going to be your agility. Then after that, field battles. So again, this is going to be given a 5. So due to the Mobius Force ability, this allows this weapon to be very versatile and can be tailored for any battle. So this is not just for regular battles, but can also be used for alchemy journeys and also journeys of awakening. So again, going to be very good for those particular battles, field battles. So with the right equipment and soul combinations, this weapon will tear through field mobs with no problem. So definitely given with the right, again, soul combinations, this is actually going to be quite good for field battles. So definitely a weapon that you want to have. Then next, again, metal enemies. So this is also a 5. So the only offensive skill this weapon has is Heaven Splitter Blade, which does damage to all enemies, including metal type enemies, so plus 99 damage to them. So for most or almost all of the metal enemies that appear on the field, this is a one-hit kill, and the damage of this can be increased if it is in the hands of a druid, or of course if you do critical hit damage. Then besides that, we're going to also have the next carry going to be boss battles. Again, I'm going to give this a 5. Again, this weapon is very versatile, since it can do up to 1500% damage with the Heaven Splitter Blade, and of course can take on attributes of the 2 highest attribute values of the wielder. So since this does damage to all enemies, this can work well not only with single enemies, but also boss battles that have multiple enemies, such as Hokura rulers, as you actually did just see at the end of this particular battle. With the right buffs on the wielder of this weapon, they will be able to do a huge amount of damage to the boss or bosses, and possibly take them out with one hit, depending on the amount of HP that they do have. So future use of this weapon. So this weapon will be used for a long time for being versatile in any battle. So as long as the equipment and souls of the wielder line up with the weaknesses of the enemy being fought. So just like the name of the challenge of this weapon has endless possibilities and will be the trump card for any battle this weapon is being wielded in. So total score, I'm going to give this particular weapon a perfect score of 25. So as of right now, it is hard to find the flaws of this weapon, and with its various possibilities, it's hard to see this weapon not having any use in the foreseeable future. But if you have not gotten this weapon, save up your gems and your mileage for 10 chest draws of the 6th anniversary banner. So with that said, I want to go ahead and end this video here. So in regards to my next video, most likely, as you saw from the Hokura ruler that I actually did just fought, I'm going to go over that particular Hokura ruler. So there's actually some things that you should know about that, so please stay tuned for that. But with that said, I want to go ahead and end this video here, so thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.